The three top questions that come up right about now have to do with food and check-ins and joy points. So let me just try to address those really succinctly. The first is food. If you eat more joy foods, you will have less stress. If your survival circuit is, I get my safety from eating stress foods, isn't that going to be stressful to eat joy foods when I have an unstoppable drive for stress foods? Really good question. But it's trade-offs. So what you decide to do is really, really important. For example, let's say you have this really strong survival circuit. I get my safety from stress foods, and anytime I don't eat stress foods, I get a scarcity panic and I start triggering that drive to eat. Well, you probably need to eat stress foods for a while because you can lose hundreds of pounds up and down, just by focusing on your food. And the real source of the stress is the emotional circuit. So just concentrate on your survival circuit. And if you like, just sort of surround yourself with joy foods. And if you find it to be a nurturing act to eat them, go ahead and do it, but don't push yourself. On the other hand, there are some people who have had a food addiction since the age of 5 or 6 or 7, and they start eating joy foods and they realize that they've been pouring all of this stress into their brain from the stress foods they were eating. No wonder they were feeling depressed or numb or jittery. They were eating stress foods. And so they switch over to joy foods and they don't even trigger that circuit. In fact, that circuit becomes a little harder to find. So what's important is that you use these tools and own the program. In other words, say, these are my options. I'm going to play around with them and see what works for me. Another part is these check-ins. These check-ins, when you start to use the check-ins, you're going to notice that this is really, really hard. Okay, people eat, drink, spend, they do anything that they can do to avoid simply using their prefrontal cortex, which is in your thinking brain, the overseer of the show. All this stuff going on in the emotional brain, it goes in all the states during the day. And sitting on top without judgment, sense of humor, saying, I'm going through all these different states and I'm actually going to see if I can take a few nice deep breaths and connect with myself. Gee, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. So the fact is, the more stressed you are and the more your set point is down here in the stressed range, it's going to be really hard to check in. Your emotional brain is going to put the brakes on. So that's why we use the timer once an hour. It's never really worked very well to not have that external support. Also, remember, you can just take that check-in and you can do it the way that works for you. This is your method. This is your opportunity to use these ideas in the way that works for you. For example, some people find that they just want to breathe 6 or 8 times, and that's the way to get that physiological change and that sense of connection inside. Other people say, gee, all I have to do is put my shoulders back and my chin up, and that shifts me physiologically. We're looking for a physiological change. So you can feel it in your body, relaxation, slight reward. People say, I lovingly observe myself in the present moment and say, what the heck am I doing? What's going on here? With a sense of love and kindness and compassion, that does it. And other people just say, I just need to know my brain state. What's my brain state? I can accept that. So take 1 or 2 parts of that and just use the short form, the one that's most powerful for you. And the third question is joy points. You can create as much joy as you want to because you now know how to make the dance. You know how to oversee your emotional brain. Wake up in the morning, I am creating joy in my life. And then all day long, you see moments of joy here and there that you create because of your perception. You're essentially tuning in to all the beauty and all the wonder that's around you, even in the most difficult and mundane situations, including the worst moments of all. If you can just pause for just a moment and find some spark of joy, the cobweb right up there, the light that's in my eyes, cool, the thought of my son, just the pleasure of looking out the window. So those moments of joy, when you create that spark, that joy point, all day long, you're going to find yourself training your brain to get hooked on that joy. And that really obliterates the drive to go to excess. So those are the three most common questions. What about this joy food anyway? Essentially, make it work for you. Do as little or as much as you want to. 2, check in, just do it your own way. Joy points, collect them.